Alastair, obviously it's a great opportunity for England to win one of these events for the first time. I think it's also your first global tournament, is it? How big a deal does it feel to be to you?
Yeah, I mean, it is my first one. I'm really looking forward to the challenges of being like a world tournament. You know, you get into a series and you get to play against the same team, you know, for 3 or 5 times. So, you know, this is very different in terms of having to play against a different team every day or every game you play, and having to adjust your skills to the certain players straight away. And you have to start pretty quickly in this tournament. Those 3 games to get to the group, you've got to win, you know, definitely 2 of them, and you know, to guarantee 3. So it's going to be a tough tournament that way, but I think it's a great tournament because it's so quick.
And whether you like it or not, Alastair, it is the first of, I think, 26 internationals against Australia, which you play between now and the beginning of February. Does it sort of seem the beginning of something, separating it from the tournament?
To be honest, I don't think it does, because the Champions Trophy is such an important event in itself. So yeah, clearly, you know, playing Australia in the first game, obviously with the Ashes coming up, everyone's going to talk like that. But you know, I think both sides will be seeing it as, you know, we're needing to win to get the tournament off to a good start, rather than anything else later, which is going to happen later on in the summer.
The fact that it is Australia, does it mean, it means a lot in terms of this competition? Does it mean anything for all that stuff that's going to come later on?
Look, I don't think so. What's going to come later on, just, you know, you obviously want to start well against any team, but this tournament is, as I just said, it's so quick. You know, 3 games against 3 quality sides straight up, that you've got to be on the ball straight away. And you know, we're going to play against a tough Australian side, you know, tomorrow, and we want to win to get off to a good start.
So how big a loss is Michael Clarke not playing to them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you lose a player of that stature and that quality, obviously it will be a loss to them, but they've obviously got a good squad and obviously some fine replacements. So, you know, it won't, I don't think it's, you know, it's not all doom and gloom and stuff for them, but it's obviously losing your captain is tough.
I mean, they were bowled out for 65 the other day. They've not had the greatest of build-ups. You've come good in the end against New Zealand. How do you sort of see the balance of power going into the game?
Look, it's irrelevant, those warm-up games. We always say them, you want to find form as a team, but if you don't find form, you know, you're not going to remember what happened in the warm-up games. You're going to remember what happened in the actual tournament, just like what happened against New Zealand. You know, we didn't play so well in as well as we could have done in that series, but that will count for little or nothing starting tomorrow.
Alastair, I think this is probably going to be the last ever Champions Trophy. I mean, a while back it was one of England's goals to win a major global tournament, which you did with the 2020. If this tournament ends and is never played again, and England have never won it, would that seem like a big omission on the kind of the national CV?
Well, I think you know, we've spoken about trying to win a 50-over tournament, so this is an opportunity to do that. Alongside the World Cup in 2015, you know, there are very important tournaments. Whether this happens again, this tournament, we'll have to wait and see somewhere down the line. But you know, we're not quite so bothered about that. You know, we've got these 2 weeks cricket here, and as a one-day side, and we know what we can do, but it's about us delivering it, you know, in these 2 weeks.
Alastair, England and Australia have played some really great games here at Edgbaston. Obviously, and last summer you beat them 4-0 over here. The general mood in the England setup, do you believe that it's going into a game against Australia, a big game? There's never a better time to play them.
Look, you know, in the ideal world, we'd have beaten New Zealand in that series. So you know, that would have been ideal preparation. So we haven't quite been on the money that way. We haven't been too far off playing close to our potential. But we've let ourselves down in certain areas. So that's a challenge for, you know, training today and then tomorrow as well. We need to be playing close to our potential to beat Australia.
Are all your 15 fit enough for selection?
Yes, they are.
I was going to ask if there's any news with Mrs. Bresnan, whether Tim's still with the squad or he's still here?
Yeah, he's still here. I had coffee with him just about an hour ago. So unless something's changed in the last hour or so, no, he's still with us. So.
But I suppose that does come into your thinking as well, does it? Because, you know, the baby's overdue now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, clearly, you know, your best laid plans and stuff, you know, that they go out the window in terms of, obviously the family comes first. I think that's always right in a team, no matter how big the game is or how big the tournament is. We're the support which our families give us, we need. So sometimes you have to give some back, and hopefully at some stage during this tournament, Mrs. Bresnan can have a very healthy young child. So our thoughts are with him, but hopefully she can hang on. She can hang on to just so we've got a couple of days off, so we can pick for our 15.
And you've had a lot of success in England in one-day cricket with the 5 specialist bowlers policy. Did the way Josh attacked the bowling coming in at 7 make you think a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it has made us thought about our balance of the team, for tomorrow's game. I think it's a good option to be. It's nice that worked though. The option of having 3 and 1, and obviously the 5th bowler being Ravi and Ruti seem to work well in that game. So it gives you the option. So if it's we can change the way we play, which we probably haven't been able to do in the past. So it gives us a selection like headache in one way, but a good one.
Alastair, bad news this morning for Michael Clarke in Australia with his injury. You've had a little bit of back trouble, haven't you, in the past? I think remember you missing a couple of Lions games or something like that. Once you get it, can it be something that sort of comes and goes and sort of haunts you a little bit from your experience?
Well, I can't speak about Michael Clarke because I just obviously depending on what your back condition is, I suppose. Clearly, they are funny things, and I'm always getting treated for a back issue, but it's about managing it, and fingers crossed, touch wood. I'm not even sure that's wood, but it's mine seems to be okay at the moment.
So there's been some discussion about the way you back your 50 overs, really, I suppose. You tend to, although not always, you tend to kind of set up a platform and perhaps hope that, or rely on Morgan and Butler to go hard towards the end, whereas other teams go harder from the start. Are you happy with your sort of batting strategy in a tournament where 300 plus seems to be the norm? Not at the Oval today, mind you. But.
I'll say we've just had one game, so it's I think it's worked well for us. The way we've over the last couple of years, with the way we've batted. Clearly with these new regulations, most sides tend to be doing that as well. We know how hard it is to stop sides going if you've got wickets in hand in those last 15 overs with the extra field restrictions, and all the sides in this tournament have got some firepower as well at the end. So it's I don't think it's just England who are doing that.
Has there been a slight shift in the last few years, or certainly in the last year, from playing specialists to playing your best players effectively?
Yeah, I think with the two, if you're talking about you try to pick the best side you can, but in terms of with the two new white balls in England and stuff, the pinch hitter as such has kind of gone out of the one-day game in these conditions because of the damage you can do later on in the innings, and obviously you need the technique to survive against international bowlers at the top of the order with 2 new balls.
Similarly with the bowlers as well.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, on the other foot, you can do some real damage as well with the 2 new white balls.
So how do you think the captaincy is coming along? I mean, it's still early days, relatively, and with the new restrictions sort of in place now. I mean, you did that thing where you move yourself into Gully into Caction, which is something that came off. Do you feel that you're growing into the captaincy?
Well, I've been doing the one-day stuff for about 2 years now, so I feel as if I feel quite comfortable in that role. Clearly, the Test captaincy's a lot shorter, but I feel quite comfortable, and I think the lads are quite comfortable with me.
Alastair, I just wanted to ask you, if I may, just quickly about Fawad Ahmed. There's a lot of global interest in his inclusion in Australia A squad. Who knows where we'll go from there? But I mean, at this stage, what do you even know about him as a bowler from England's point of view?
Well, to be honest with you, we haven't seen much of him at all. I mean, if he gets included in Australia's squad, then we will have to do our diligence and work on him like we do to every player. And obviously, there's an opportunity if he's now in the A squad, over here, that we will see him. See him in games, so we can have a look.
Cookie, is there such a thing as an Australian cricket team at a low ebb?
Well, I haven't seen one, so it's gonna. We all know how a game of cricket in 50 overs can people can stand up and win games, for sides, and they've obviously got some very dangerous players to be able to do that. So it's going to be a great game. I think it's sold out tomorrow, so it's going to be hopefully we can get off to a good start.
Are you at all surprised by how little the white balls seem to be doing, the 2 new white balls? And does that change the way you play at all?
It's clearly down to the conditions, isn't it? I think last year when we played in some one-day cricket where there was some rain around, it certainly did a lot for a long time. But thankfully we got some good weather, and that normally determines, as we know in England, what the ball does.